Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified executive and business coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in Southwest Ohio. Be prepared to be blown away today with our guest, Dave Rapien, a recognized professor in the business school at the University of Cincinnati, but a tremendous serial entrepreneur running diverse businesses from ice cream shops to real estate to a heavy focus around technology and consulting firms. Just scratching the surface here. So, again, if you're new to this series, we're thrilled to have you. We can encourage you to hit the subscribe button so you can receive future messages like you're going to hear today. So, without further ado, Dave Rapien, professor at UC, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to the Business Spotlight. Take a second if you could, introduce yourself, give us a little background, and also kind of cover some of the areas of businesses that you've been in during your journey.
Well, thank you, Todd. It's really an honor to be here. So I started my first business when I was 15. Still have the client, still have the business. But since then, I have had partnerships, global partnerships, local partnerships, and they've been in a lot of different areas. But we'll look at the tech side. I do a lot of tech consulting, but more so I find industries that need help, and I've built large scale systems for them. So whether it's a sports industry or the medical industry or horse racing or stock trading, used cars, I've been fortunate enough to have software in 14 different industries. So that's been my background. You find it, you learn it, you move forward.
So, so I think for our listeners all wondering, like, okay, professor and all these businesses, how do you juggle all that?
Well, when I was working at Procter and Gamble, I learned a very simple statement that sleep is an irritating habit. So, I'm my most important job is I'm the father of four, and grandfather very soon of two. So, looking forward to those sides. But the we all have a lot of time, and it matters how you use that time. Whether you use that time flipping through social media or you use that time to develop businesses. And so, as a professor, I've been very lucky to have time in between classes and time outside, as well as my summers and winters. So you make use of every minute, and you bring in partners and employees that you can trust to keep your companies moving forward. So it's multiplying that time through other people and making use of the time instead of wasting it on frivolous things.
Oh, and there are so many distractors out there that can steal our attention very quickly. So appreciate that. Um, I know we talked before we started the recording here today about several of your businesses. I think one in particular you wanted to highlight was around your sports scheduling business. So maybe describe that and like who would be ideal customers for that business?
So when I started this, I'm 6'10". So I know it's difficult to believe, but I've played a little ball in my life. And what I found is that the people who scheduled our games were terrible. So I thought there needed to be a better solution. So computers and software was relatively new. I didn't really know anything about it or what I was doing, but I built a sports scheduling application. And so my customers initially were intramurals, colleges, and companies that provided sports scheduling or just sports sites. And so I was selling to a lot of facilities. And this is before the internet was really hitting. This is started in 91. We had the software up in around 93. So the World Wide Web was literally brand new. But we'd go out. I had a business partner, and we'd fly to different cities and go to conventions and stand behind a table and show them that the computer can do what they were doing, and no one believed it. So trying to sell people that their piece of software can do the internal scheduling that you do, it was the soft sell that was the most difficult. But once you showed it, you had large companies that loved what you were doing, and they were really appreciative of anything that you could do additional to help save them time. So we started selling to a lot of different colleges and intramurals and sports malls, and then it expanded into partnerships. So We've had partnerships around the world of companies that had their full suite of software, and we are one small piece of that. So you find out in many cases that you don't need to be the end all everything to everybody. Find a niche, and you need to be the piece that is the component that allows someone to be better, that allows someone to make their mark and make their customers happier. So right now it's a business to business more than business to consumer.
So thank you for that. And great example of kind of honing down into that niche. Here's how has that evolved over time? 30 plus years, right? Or have you been able to stick to that target customer that entire time?
So the upfront, it was realized the internet was difficult. We had floppy disks. We'd go and make 3 disc sets of floppy disks and hand them out at conventions. And it was a different world because you had to travel and you had to pay for long distance. And so you were really, it's a one-on-one type sale. With the creation of the World Wide Web, it only took a half hour to upload your software, and then people could download it in a half hour over their phone lines. And it meant I didn't have to make a trip to another place. We went from a relatively national type company to having sales on 5 continents. We were I scheduled the Sydney Olympics with my software. So, okay, that's overblown. We scheduled all of the pool play for the Sydney Olympic soccer and all the tournaments for the countries. So it was fun. We've gotten to do a lot of really cool things, but it went from floppy disks to we moved it over to software as a service, where it became web-based. It became something that could be a component that could be put into somebody else's software.
Mhm.
And we're looking right now, we're rebuilding that engine into creating it to run our own sports leagues. So we're looking to create a full set of sports leagues initially in the Cincinnati area, which includes Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. We're on that bottom southwest corner. And it's with a series of universities from Ohio State down to Louisville to University of Cincinnati and Xavier University in Indiana. We've got a lot of interested sports people. We're just changing it up.
Wow, thank a great example. So folks, a lot of folks think, oh, business 30 plus years, kind of found what they do and kind of they stick to it. No, absolutely not, right? You keep reinventing yourself all the time as the world changes, customer expectations change. So,
They do, and platforms change. The ability to get things out in different ways change, and you've got to adapt with it. But that doesn't mean that the soul of the software isn't the same. The soul of the industry isn't the same. It's
mhm.
just how you present it and how you push it out. It's got to adjust with the world.
Okay. You mentioned hey, you started in conventions, kind of more one-to-one selling, but you also mentioned, hey, eventually growth, kind of partnering with others. So how have you identified kind of the best partnerships and how have you formed those to be win-wins?
So the what I found is I've written a lot of my own contracts with the companies. I don't advise this to anyone. Always have a lawyer go over your contracts. But the I taken enough classes in that area and been around enough that it works out. But what I found is that you need to these relationships, these business to business relationships, are built on character. They're built on your word. And any contract that you have with someone else, my suggestion is it needs to be a contract that the person, if you were sitting on the other side of this table, you would want to sign that contract. It needs to take into account that you are going into a relationship with someone else, and they need to be comfortable with you and trust you, and you have to be comfortable with them and trust them. And if you don't have that root trust, the entire group will falter. So I had a business partner who wrote a contract without me and delivered it, and the root of that contract was not what I would say is was something that we'd sign on the other side. And that company that we were in business with, it seemed like a good relationship, but then they started having sales and not reporting them to us. They did exactly, the character was missing. and they traveled. They worked that contract with no character. So what happened is eventually that entire contract went away, and we moved to another company where we had a good understanding, a equal. We knew it was an equal partnership, and it was a contract where we're doing service for them. But we've been servicing them since the late 1990s, so it's been over 25 years. We're working on 30 years with them, and it has been a wonderful relationship. We have open communication. We make adjustments as they need it, and they do the same for us. And I couldn't ask for more than great people to work with, but it's based on initially making sure that you are all aligned.
Great example. Partnerships are a very delicate territory, right? They have to be
Yes, they
done in a
are.
very thoughtful and always with a foundation of trust. So 30 plus years has to be some twists and turns in those roads, some hills and valleys. So if you could maybe walk us through one example of, hey, a big challenge that you and your team had to overcome, and what did you learn from it?
So, well, why might as well continue on with a similar the ending of that other story. We at the company that ended up the leadership of that company decided that they would sell our software and not tell us about it. But I was in good. I had good relationships with not the president of the company, but the vice president of the company and the development team. So because we worked together, and so those relationships were real. They were friendships and they were real working relationships among professionals. When we left that company, we figured that'd be the end of it. And we went to a different company. Lo and behold, the second company bought the first company. So the company that we moved to, who was direct competition, purchased the company that we had just left. But when they did that, the president was bought out, and I was there with the vice president and the development team. So the relationships that I had, despite the past, the relations that we had with and it was our team that our team had with their team worked out perfectly
Yeah.
because we treated them with respect and they did the same. It was just the people at the top, they were the snake in the grass.
Yeah. So,
So and
yeah.
that's worked out very well.
Great example. Speaks to the value of, hey, when you partner with somebody, you don't want to just have it all be around that one individual, right? You want to have across the team, right, as well. So,
And you need to be kind to everyone on that team, whether you think they have an effect on you or not, whether or not you think that they are going to aid in your success or your money, your bottom line. Um, One of the local people here, a local billionaire in Cincinnati, he had a statement: "You meet the same people on the way up that you'll meet on the way back down. Be nice." And what's funny is while you're maybe going back down, those other people are going back up, and they may pull you back up with you.
yeah, very good. Great analogy. So what's a current kind of playing it forward as you look forward? What's a current challenge that you got in front of
Um,
you?
so we have with a different business. I'll switch sides. I have a business that we started. Technically, the business was started in the early 2000s, but it really came to be around 2019. That's when I joined this company, and we had an AI engine that would take unstructured data, which is stuff like a blog or a video or all of your text. I mean, all of your text, and it would put into a structured database so you could search for it and find the rightful information. It was a beautiful solution, and the problem is we had a whole lot. The company itself had a very big high end board and nobody working on it. So we had a lot of chiefs. We didn't have a lot of privates.
Okay.
And I came into the company as one of the well, I was split because I ended up being all of the privates, and I was also a small chief. But the company couldn't move forward because none of the chiefs knew what the product was. They knew the idea. They didn't know how to sell. They didn't know how to work. They didn't know how it was a challenge. So making sure that you're training the people at the top to know what your product is very important. we found that a lot of the people didn't need to be in the company. It was a startup, and we chose the wrong people, and that's a big challenge. If you choose the wrong people, your startup goes nowhere. Unfortunately, about 2 years later, on comes ChatGPT and Gemini, which and Grok and Copilot and all of these Llama and all these other big new AI large language model software pieces, and we lost our window. We had to. Our software didn't become obsolete, but it was not. It was in competition with them with a different technology, and we didn't have the keywords that every manager, every business wanted to hear. We had a solution that worked, not something that gave hallucinations. The problem is we didn't have those special lines, LLM, large language model, and therefore you lose your momentum. So you have to choose the right people in your company to run it forward. And so what we did then is we chose a new board who understood how we can market our product in today's world, going head to head against behemoths with a lighter, more accurate, better product. And you had to reposition yourself. So it was hard. It's expensive. It is a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of long days building that product, and reinventing yourself as the world moves on.
Great example, right? Right. And just the keys of, back to the most important questions usually are the who, right? The who we put around the team.
It,
So kind of extending that same thought. Now, as you look back, what have been your keys to building strong teams, right? And growing and retaining that great talent?
Trust is huge. It's if you look in the past of people, as a professor, I'm very fortunate. This semester I have 700 students, and I've got to trust my students. They've got to trust me, and so building that trust. When you're looking at the team, you find that human nature is that what people have done in the past is what they're going to do in the future. Past activity is a good indicator of future activity. And if you have someone who has put in the work in the past and has worked with people in the past, you look at their recommendations, you look at, have they jumped ship? Are they a grab and go? Or have they been the character that you're looking for? But then you also have to make sure that their capabilities complement yours, and that the other people on your team trust them. As soon as you have loss of trust within the business, within the team, especially the leadership team, your company is not destined for a long run. Your leadership needs to know what your product is, needs to know what your products are, and what the market is. They need to know and trust each other and allow them to do each other's work, as opposed to let each person do their work. What I found is my most recent leadership team, I have two who, let's just say two people who both want to be at the top and want to be the figurehead. They want to be the voice. And it makes for a very difficult time when they both have great capabilities, but they can't both be the voice every time. Mm-hmm. So managing that team is massively important, especially in a small business.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned several key points there, but one in particular about making sure that their capabilities mesh well with yours. So how do you determine that?
Well, you find out what their position is in the company. So I've been a CEO, I've been a CFO, I've been a CTO, I've been a chief data modeler officer. I've worn quite a few different hats in my day. So, and I can wear those hats. But when we're building this team, I have a team. We have we have an industry guru, a man who is known globally for his innovation and creativity. I can't say enough about him. I've written some books with him. I think very highly of him. And he has led companies. But for today's world, he is the person who gets us in the door because he's so well known. But then we have another person who is our CEO, whose job is to make those business deals. So managing the person who is well known with the person who is there to make the business deals, their abilities complement, but you do have to keep them on track. So I could wear these hats. My job is not to. It is to take a step back and do my job in here. Everyone can't be the wide receiver. Everyone can't be the quarterback. Everyone can't be the nose guard. I've got to make sure that if you can be the nose guard, that's your job. I don't need you as a tackle. I don't need you as a tight end, and you're not running the ball. For this particular job, protect us. For that job, I'm over here in this other company, you can throw the ball all you want to. That's so that when you're looking at capabilities, look at what they've done in the past and make sure that they can stay within their lane well enough. And if they can't, you're going to have crossover, and that can cause division and that can cause trouble. It does not lower either person. It doesn't lower who you are to take a step back from some of your great capabilities and be an advisor as opposed to the person doing the job.
Good. So Dave, a lot of our viewers kind of newer on their journey as an entrepreneur or business owner. So now, as you look back in reflection, right, kind of your keys to success. I mean, what you wish you knew then that you know now.
Price isn't everything. So with our original sports software, then we realized this is a different time, but we were up against two other major competitors, and they were charging, I kid you not, 15 times more than we were. And people were buying their software because the perception was you couldn't possibly do what I do for $100. It's not possible to do what I do. I expect, oh my gosh, it would have to be at least $1,000 software or $2,000 software. And understanding the mentality of your customer and what you're saving them is a huge piece. It's not about price. It's about the product and convenience and capabilities that you deliver. So it's about quality. And what we found is we had a higher quality software than they did, but the positioning of our software in the minds of the consumer was cheap and inabilities to do stuff. So we changed our price and our sales went through the roof. Okay. We realized I don't need to compete on price. We are a better piece of software. We are the Rolex. We are the Mercedes of this area. We do not need to be, we don't need to market ourselves or price ourselves as the basic Timex or the Yugo of the industry. Make sure that you give yourself credit, but you better be able to follow it up.
Yeah, for sure. And I love it. You see far too many businesses, especially those earlier on in their journey where, hey, you're scrappy, you want every sale you can get. They end up undervaluing themselves and their services in the market. And they can end up really, really busy and still really, really broke. Right. And
yes.
It's a tough place to be. So Dave, as we look to wrap up here, I'm curious, what are the best ways for folks to stay connected with you and to learn more about what you have going on across your businesses?
So I'm my company is called Schedule DR. I'm the schedule doctor. Mm-hmm. I do scheduling of all sorts, but if you want to LinkedIn with me, I'm very open to accepting LinkedIn connections, and I'm happy to be that cog in between. you and somebody else. If we get to know each other, that's fine. The I don't have a huge social media presence, mainly because I teach information systems. I teach cybersecurity. I teach this area in the business world, and so if you're going to preach to the students, don't be stupid on social media, then you have to practice it yourself. So LinkedIn would be the best way of running with me.
All right. And again, that information's in the show notes for folks. Encourage you to reach out and connect with Dave via LinkedIn. So Dave Rapien, as we wrap up here today, curious, what are you inspired by today?
Um, I get to see between 15 and 1600 students a semester or a year over 2 semesters. And the students that are out there, the kids who have gotten through and properly gotten through the COVID world. They have been inducted into the AI world. This has just been one smack against another. The ones who realize that AI is a tool and not a ending piece, it's a starting point, not an ending point. The ones who they're scrappy, they're out there looking to work. They're innovative, and they're able to use so many of these new technologies that we they didn't exist when we grew up. I'm inspired by their desire to be part of teams, to build those teams, and to actually put in the work in order to make the impact, as opposed to previous ones who just said, I have to make an impact now or I'm out. I find that a lot of the students today, the good students are, they're inspiring because they're so creative with today's world and options.
Oh, great. Well, you're helping to inspire them, encourage them, as well as kind of inform and educate them on the journey as well. So you're a key part of that. So
And
Dave,
so
thank
are
you.
you, Todd. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your journey. I know we could have gone for hours, given the broad menu of businesses that you have, but we hit the surface on some key points. So thank you for sharing your story today.
It's been an honor. Thank you, Todd, and keep up the great work and keep inspiring others as well.
All right. And to our viewers, we're thrilled to have you join us today. And again, we encourage you to hit the like button. That does help us get the message shared out more broadly. And as mentioned before, if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you can receive future inspiring messages like you heard today from Dave Rapien. And with that, hope you all have a terrific day. Thank you.